Thank you, Prime Minister, by the way.
Great to see you again.
Good. Just to pick up on our defence forces and where we're at. I mean, do you think it's perverse to cut the army at a time in which there's war in Europe?
Look, we've got the second biggest defence spend in NATO. Last year, 2021, we were the third biggest in the world. We've increased our defence spending by 24 billion, which is the biggest amount since the end of the Cold War. What you've got to do is make sure that you're spending on the right things, that you're modernising and putting us in a position to deal with the threats of the 21st century. That's what we're doing. And I promise you, if you go around this summit, ask our friend Jens Stoltenberg, who's making a massive commitment to NATO, who's helping operationally, who's helping with the NATO operations and everything else. It's us.
But troops do still matter. Clearly they do.
Yes,
It's
of
a
course.
land war in Europe. We are cutting the army by another 9,000. I mean, that's not sustainable, is it? I mean, surely you would want to see... you recognise this is a really serious threat. Surely you would want to see the army increase in size.
We have the best armed forces in Europe.
Why not more of them?
And we think that they're fantastic, they're brilliant, but we need to make sure that they're properly equipped with stuff that is really going to make a difference for the security of the UK and the security of our allies. So we have to think about all the things that when people say, oh well, why put money into cyber? Actually, cyber is vital for the defences of our continent. Putting money into drones, into surveillance, all the things that if you go and talk to the armed services as I do regularly, and go to some of the things that they're doing.
The Chief of the General Staff who's saying it's perverse, though.
You will find that they are using kit that is, and they're getting strategic advantage over our adversaries by the use of kit that is absolutely vital. So we've got to put money into that as well.
So you're suggesting that the army is not going to increase in size; it's going to continue to decrease in size?
I think that. No, I didn't say that at all. But I think our troops are of fantastic value, and they do an amazing job. They're the best in the world. But the thing you've also got to remember is that military competitive advantage, is conferred on the armies, the armed forces that also have the best kit. And that's been so for tens of thousands
hammer
of
this
years.
home, but just a really clear answer is the army going to get smaller in the years to come?
No, I'm saying that we're investing massively in...
So it's going to get bigger?
We're investing massively in our defences. What I want to see is Army, Navy, Air Force that is strong, sufficiently numerous, but also has the kit, the training that they need.
Given the fact, though, that obviously this war so far has involved lots and lots of actual people on the ground, our defence force has been cut, I think, from 200,000 when the Conservatives first came into government in 2010 to 150,000, fewer than 150,000 today. Well, in retrospect, in hindsight, was that a mistake?
Well, hang on. It's a very, very interesting point, because people say, you mean the conflict in Ukraine?
Yes.
Right, but I think on that you need to consider exactly what we can do to be most useful to the Ukrainians. And so when it comes to helping them, it's actually been the investment in weapon systems, in cyber, and above all in intelligence, in ISR, in drone technology, that has been pretty important in helping them to resist.
If we stand by NATO's commitment, we might need to send 30,000 extra personnel in some form or another across the defence force. Can we even manage that, given how small they are?
Just ask Jens Stoltenberg which country steps up to the plate, which country delivers for NATO. I double dare you. The UK is the country that really commits to NATO. We've got the second biggest defence spend in this organisation of some of the biggest defence players in the world. We were the third biggest in the world just last year. So, and what we're doing, and you say, where's the money going? It's going on the stuff that we're going to need for the future.
A lot being said about Vladimir Putin in the last couple of days. We talked about toxic masculinity. The Defence Secretary's talked about kind of small man syndrome. In the end, and Is it fair to say that he is evil, as some has portrayed him?
I think that what he has done is evil, and
is he himself evil? Do you reckon?
I think it probably follows that if you are what you do, then certainly he's. It's been an appalling act of unwarranted aggression against an innocent population. And it's very rare in life, in politics, in diplomacy, when you see something that is so absolutely black and white, something so clear. And it's very interesting listening to colleagues around the table. They see it. And I think one thing we've got to make sure is that parts of the world that are more ambivalent about this are helped to understand why we see it this way. And, we can't be complacent about this. There are lots of swing countries that are at the moment, just a bit more ambivalent about what Putin has done. So we need to explode some myths. It's not the sanctions that are causing the food prices to go up, as Putin tells African, Asian, Latin America. It's not the sanctions. There's nothing to stop Putin exporting food, exporting fertilizer. It's what he is doing to stop grain come out of Ukraine. He's blocking the food. We need to explode that myth. And we need to. And the second thing that people say is, it's all NATO. NATO should never have encroached upon Russia. There was never any chance that missiles were going to be stationed on Ukrainian soil. That's a complete myth. This is an act of absolutely unprovoked aggression.
Just two other topics, if I can. One on, no worries at all, on whether women have an absolute right to bodily autonomy, I think, which one of your MPs suggested they did not.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
I think that when it comes to Roe Wade, I think that's an unfortunate decision. I think it marks a step backwards. I've always been in favour of a woman's right to choose, and that's what we have in UK law, and we've actually just taken steps to make sure that that's the way the law is enforced across the whole of the UK.
Because I've watched all your interviews that you've given over this past week. I know, it's kind of part of the job, but sometimes I'm
soulless, right?
I'm just very keen.
That's called strategic endurance.
Yeah.
I congratulate on your strategic endurance.
And one of the things that's really interesting is, a lot of our viewers, a lot of people who watch GB News really like you. They love you, and they still love you. But some of them, and increasing numbers...
I know where this is going. This is trying to drag it back in.
No, I'm not.
Go on.
But the reason it's really important is because actually some of them don't trust you anymore. Whether you like it or not, they don't. And I'm interested in saying that you seem to be suggesting the way that you can win them back is through policy, but many of them won't listen to it anymore because they don't trust you. Is there no way that you can reach out and say, I want to win back people's trusts?
Look, of course, but I think the way to do that...
How do you do that?
The way to do that is to show what we're doing, explain it, go over it again. When people find it controversial, try again. Take the Rwanda policy, right? Began by everyone saying, what you can send people to Rwanda? Then actually it went through the courts. No court ruled it unlawful. Then a lot of our colleagues came on the recent trip to Rwanda. They saw the country for themselves. They saw what was happening. Attitudes started to change.
But Prime Minister, it's not about your policies.
My job is
they
to
quite like
keep
your policies. It's about you, though, as in they want you to show that you're changing or that you're listening.
I think if I'm with greatest respect, I think that's a job for you. I am not. I'm
not here to convince people to trust you. You should be. Should you not be? No.
Look, I'm not going to try and dissuade you. I think that my job is to try to make some very tough decisions, to keep making them, keep taking the country forward. I think it's the job of brilliant commentators in the media to sort of draw political conclusions and judgments about people's careers. There should be a demarcation dispute. I used to do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I used to, and it's a great thing to do. But I don't do that anymore. Right now, what I do is I get up every morning with an ambition to change the country for the better, to deliver on our promises, to unite and level up. It's a massive, massive agenda. That's what drives me.
Okay. Prime Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.